What's up? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks for being here, being subbed. If you're not, hit the button. And if you're listening on YouTube, hit that like. It's like walking in the room and hitting that light switch. Let's brighten up the place and get into this beautifully honest reaction.
Talk to me nice, talk to me honestly. Look in my eyes, don't let it fall on me. Say you're a good guy, make me believe it. Don't wanna hear it, I wanna see it. See how rewind, when we rewind, feels so nice.
I've also come to realization that there are just certain allegations that I will never, ever beat with you guys. I came into this situation with the status because I have a child by a very successful artist, right? From then, I'm viewed as a certain type of woman because I'm beautiful and I have a nice body. And normally women like that attract a certain caliber of men, which is also not my fault. And now that I am in yet another situation where I now have a child with another successful man, there's no telling you guys that I'm not a gold digger. You guys, it's no beating those allegations at all. The only thing that irritates me is I read comments that say, oh, you're a gold digger, or you kept the baby for a check. What if I came to y'all's pages, right? And I compared the men that you have children with to the men that I have children with. And I said, you were digging for poverty when you picked him to be your baby daddy, weren't you? Oh, you kept that baby for an extra income tax credit, didn't you? Or you kept that baby for a couple extra $100 in food stamps, didn't you? Or you kept that baby for an extra Section 8 voucher. Is that why you kept your baby? Now, if that was triggering, that's how I feel every time somebody says, do you even love that baby? You kept that baby for a check.
Hey guys, I wanted to get your thoughts on this Anthony Edwards situation, paternity lawsuits, and all of this stuff, because it's just a lot. So apparently he conceived a child with this woman, Ayesha Howard. She's trying to get child support. It was reported that he said, I don't want to have anything to do with you or this child, and tried to do some sort of like out of court settlement where he just like gave her a lump sum. Don't come after me for any child support. Don't come after me for any increases over time or anything like that. Or should anything happen to me later in life, I have to go through the courts to get a decrease because I can't afford to pay the amount that I'm paying anymore. All that stuff, right? And now all of this stuff is public knowledge. It's none of our business. I really don't care. But she did this video where she talked about how she is perceived because of her beauty, I guess, and people judging her based on her looks as to, what's going on. But we already know that when it comes to these children, and it's not even so much being born out of wedlock, because honestly, a lot of children are born out of wedlock, and that's nothing new. But in a lot of these situations where these children are conceived outside of a relationship, because these are the times that we've been living in for the past several decades, really, where it's become a thing when certain types of women, they're looking for a huge payday, so they want to become pregnant with a man of some stature and status, right? So a lot of the women, especially the black women, it has been celebrities, ball players, whether they're basketball, football, maybe baseball. You know what I mean? We don't really hear about a whole lot of soccer players or hockey players having these types of issues. Not saying that they don't have baby mama drama, but it definitely seems to be a large share of basketball players and football players. And, we've heard of a few baseball players, but I'm just saying it's a lot. And of course, rappers, maybe a few R&B singers. It's a lot. But I don't have sympathy for either parties because this all comes down to discipline. I get it. A lot of these people, they don't know how to control themselves and whatever, but unfortunately, a lot of these people, they wound up hooking up with people that they knew they were not in a relationship with, never wanted to be in a relationship with. And yeah, for a lot of women, if they had the opportunity to conceive a child, or they can get child support at least for 18 years and get a hefty sum, and they've seen the news reports over the years, it's like, well, yeah, maybe I could try to get some of that. I don't have sympathy for the men because it's like you didn't have you didn't have dick discipline. So now you wound up conceiving a child with a woman that you knew you didn't want to have anything to do with. And if you don't want to have anything to do with this person, your dick shouldn't want to have anything to do with what was between their legs. And now you have a child. But also we know that there's a lot of trifling chicks out there too that will wind up getting pregnant for these guys that they don't really know, all for the sake of some security over the years. But it's extremely reckless and irresponsible. God forbid you have a child that has disabilities. You know what I mean? And yeah, you might get a hefty paycheck. And it's not even a paycheck, a hefty child support payment monthly. But to take the risk of having a child with disabilities and you are the only one really parenting this child, that's a lot of stress. I don't think there's any amount of money that I would want to be able to get if it meant that I had to deal with a situation like that. And so I'm just saying there's so many factors to consider that a lot of these people don't think about. And yeah, it's not common, but it's possible for unforeseen circumstances and situations to come up. So it's like, why take the risk for the sake of getting a paycheck when you could try to at least use your brains, or if it's not really that strong, then get some skills, get a trade or some trades to work that brain so that you can make your own money. Like, why would you want to be dependent on a man to get a check by having a child for them? But I wanted to ask the question, do you think it's fair for a man that let a woman know, look, I don't want to have anything to do with you, and if you choose to keep this child, that's on you. Do you think it's fair for the man to be forced to, one, pay for this child, and to acknowledge it? Now, I will say my personal opinion is, yeah, I mean, I hate to put it like this, but you do the crime, you do the time, and that penalty is to be paying for a child that you really had no plans on conceiving and having to be responsible for. That's the price that you have to pay. You may not like it, but it's a part of life, because if this woman had to go to seek public assistance, they're going to seek out the man so that they can be reimbursed for the money that they're kicking out to give this woman and its child resources to help them to be able to survive, meaning housing and food stamps and welfare and, maybe daycare assistance and that other type of stuff that some cities and states do offer. So yeah, you're going to have to pay for it. But if the man already let you know that he didn't want to have anything to do with you or the child, do you think it's fair for this woman to blast that man on social media to say he's not involved in the child's life? It's like he wasn't even involved in your life. The only thing that was involved in you was his dingaling when it was involved in between your legs to wind up getting you pregnant. It's like that has nothing to do with us. I don't really care and don't really want to hear about it, but we hear about this stuff a lot. And then when they want to come to social media with these messages, it's like, save it. Put it in your journal and your diary or whatever. But it's really none of our business. I don't have any sympathy for you. And then you want to put out a message to pretty much say people are judging you based on how you look. Like you're really thinking more highly of yourself than you ought to think, because really if you were all that, then maybe you would be with someone that would want to wife you up. And I know for some people that's not the goal, but honestly I feel like a lot of people say that it's not. They're kind of lying about it, because they really would prefer to be in a committed relationship with a man that would love to have himself committed to this woman and build a life and a family and all of the things. So a lot of people who say they don't want that, they say it out of being pissed because they've been rejected a lot. It's just the truth. I mean, it just really is. But I really want to know what you guys think about this, so let me know what you think in the comments.
People took issue with me saying shut the doors. Understand, I never said lock the doors.
Yeah.
I said shut the doors. Shutting doors mean that people still have the ability to go in and out. They've taken issue with my tone, and I can honestly say, looking at the video, maybe I was a little more assertive than I should have been, and I can apologize for that. I could apologize for that. But three things I need to make sure that people understood. Number one, the $40,000, if it was $40,000 that was raised, was never given to me. That money was raised for the purpose of taking care of the budget for their conference, not Marvin Sapp. Number two, it didn't happen at my church. It happened in Baltimore. Number three, people take issue with me being firm with the ushers. Anybody that goes to church, ushers one-on-one, that's the first thing they teach you as being an usher, is that there are 3 times you don't walk. You don't walk during the altar call. You don't walk during prayer. You don't walk during the offering. One of the reasons being is because of the sacredness of the moment. You want the doors closed. You don't want the doors locked. I couldn't get them locked anyway. It's a convention center. But the doors needed to be closed, and there was a lot of pandemonium and stuff that was going on out there. But I wanted to share that first. But that ain't even the reason why I'm here. Here's the reason why I'm here. The reason why I'm here is because what has happened is people have taken clickbait and made something out of it that it isn't. And because of that, my church has been getting phone calls. People have called my church and cussed me out. My staff are afraid because I've received death threats over $20 and shut the door. People have come to our campus. They have come to my church to try to cause problems, issues, challenges. And again, my children, I don't look at comments. We talk about this. I don't read comments. When you got millions of followers, you ain't got time to be reading all the comments. You just don't have it.
Right.
My children do. And they are afraid. And the reason being is because I'm their only parent. I'm a widower. They're afraid for my safety. So now we've had to update and increase security and all the things I've never had to do before because of the vitriol and the anger that people have shown, the things that they've said in my thread and stuff. And all of this is because of a misunderstanding. and they understand the cost that is involved. There's 1,000 of you. I said close them doors. Ushers, close the doors. Close the doors. Close the doors. We all gonna leave together. Y'all ain't going no place but to the restaurant. There's 1,000 of you tonight, and those that are watching, it's 1,000 that's watching online. This is a small seed. If I get 1,000 online to give this, if I get 1,000 in the sanctuary to give this, that's $40,000 tonight. I'm challenging each of you all down here to give a $20 seed. I actually think $20 is a lot of money. $20, believe it or not, when my late wife Melinda P. Sapp was alive, was a good date. I could take her to the movies, buy a box of popcorn, get 1 soda, 2 straws. I wasn't cheap, that's swag. I was looking in her eyes, she's looking in mine. Can't do that no more. Now everyone up here, we've all sold and seeded, but I need everyone standing up here with us, with me, to plant a seed of $100. Because again, it costs to sit up here. I got you. Let's see. So put your 20 away, preachers. That 20 wasn't for you. And this is what I need you to do. If you're giving electronically, or even if you're giving tangibly, I'm gonna have y'all come to the altar and give it, because I need to see 1,000 people moving. Bring them baskets. I want the baskets up here. I want to see the folk. Y'all start moving. Y'all can bring it right now. Come. Even if you're giving tangibly, just put your hand on the...
All right, guys, I'm going to talk about this in a separate commentary, but I just wanted to share this little quick clip of Marvin Sapp. I don't know why I was about to say Marvin Winans, but Marvin Sapp. And I'm just going to be honest, I don't personally believe that he was getting death threats. I really don't. I feel sometimes they will go to that length to kind of get people off of their back, so it'll kind of calm the waters of people being critical of what they have said or done that cause people to just like really react online. And when it came to what he did in that church, which that service wasn't recently, but it doesn't matter if it was recent. It's going viral now. Doesn't matter if it didn't happen last week or last month or even last year. It was done, and it was done by him. I have another perspective on it. I'm going to share that in a separate commentary, but I just personally wanted to say I do not believe that he was getting death threats. That's my personal opinion. I really believe that he stated that, and he did it on a platform with Ricky Smiley that has a large listening audience, syndicated radio show, and Ricky Smiley is his friend. It was to garner sympathy, is my personal opinion, because a lot of people are not feeling sympathy or sorry for him at this point in time because they see him as manipulative. And yeah, a lot of these leaders in these churches that call for these offerings, a lot of times they are. I'll go into that very soon here, but I wanted to just talk about this right now, share this clip and get your thoughts on it, because do you really believe that he was getting death threats because people were just so angry with him about him telling the ushers to close the doors while doing the offering and trying to make it quick? Do you really believe that he was receiving death threats because of the footage that was out there? I don't personally believe that. I don't. There are people that are doing a whole lot more, that they are really being threatened just for using their voice to talk about things that are happening in politics and how outraged they are, and just really being honest about it and telling the truth about it. And there really are true psychopaths out there that will call, as I've listened to some of the people play these clips of people calling in and it's crazy. But I don't believe that he was receiving death threats. I really don't. And I don't think that's anything to play with. And some of you may say, well, why would he lie about that? Why not? If it's going to gain him sympathy, then why wouldn't he say it got to the point of people were so angry that they decided to issue, threats against my life, and then trying to use a sympathy card. I'm my children's only parent because their mother passed away years ago, which is true. And so sorry about that loss. But let's be clear. And I'm not saying that it would be okay if anything happened to him because his children are adults, but he does not have little babies or small children. He has adult children. So to put even that out there, like he was saying, that again was to gain sympathy and get people to back off. So him saying that really was to get people to stop critiquing and criticizing him. And so to say, oh my God, I can't believe it got to that point. Let me just back off. I don't really care for what I saw. I don't care for what I heard. But you know what? It really ain't that serious. And if the people in the church didn't care that much, then why should I? That, I feel, was what it was really all about. I don't believe that he was receiving death threats. But you guys let me know your thoughts.
WUSA.
All right, guys, I have been wanting to talk about this, and I saw it when it actually first came out, when Dawn Robinson did a video from her car saying that she's been living in her car for the last 3 years. I will say this, she never said she was homeless. She said she had been looking and researching like van life and people living in their cars and things like that, and she decided to give it a try after going through some situations, staying with her mom and being put up in other places. And she didn't say she wasn't on hard times, but she never said that she was homeless. She said she decided to live in her car, and she's been doing it for the last 3 years, and decided to share that with her YouTube followers and subscribers. And when I saw that when it initially happened, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I didn't feel sorry for her. And I'm not saying that she isn't dealing with some struggles and hard times. It's actually why I wanted to talk about this, because I wanted to talk about it from a perspective that I haven't heard anyone else discuss it. But if you are familiar with Dawn Robinson's persona, which she's a beautiful woman, and En Vogue was one of my favorite groups, like Never Gonna Get It is one of my favorite songs ever in life. That song came out when I was in middle school, and I remember it and the video to this day. Love it. That's actually Beyonce's Eagle video was inspired from their video. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. When I saw the video and I saw her speaking, and then I have remembered hearing stories about her over the years and her persona from being in Vogue and then no longer being in Vogue, and then she was in the group Lucy Pearl. That didn't end well for her either. And she had a reputation. She wasn't very easy to work with. Again, obviously I wasn't there, so I don't know a whole lot, but I just remember hearing the stories. But now over the years, when we have learned and have heard a whole lot more about mental health struggles and mental health issues, mental health conditions, diagnosed and undiagnosed, my personal opinion is I truly believe that Dawn Robinson may, and this is not even to be offensive, this is actually to be in support of her, I believe she may have some possible undiagnosed mental health issues, or maybe she has been diagnosed and she's living with it and coping with it and doing the best that she can. But I personally feel that because of the fact that she shared her situation, living in her car, I'm not saying she's destitute or anything like that, but a lot of times people with mental health issues, they can be hard to live with. They can. And if it's not someone that you truly are really committed to, even if you are a parent, but you are the parent of an adult child, where they're not like just completely mentally incapacitated, or the R word, which, is not like politically correct to use anymore, but you know what I mean, then a lot of times, parents are just like, I can't deal with it. And then the adult child goes out in the world, in life, and they're just trying to figure it out and do their own thing. And in my personal opinion, I feel that might have been Dawn's issue. But, I'm not saying that definitely doesn't take away from any type of intelligence level. Not saying that they're not smart. They're actually, dyslexia is a mental, it's a mental condition as well. People with dyslexia are some of the most intelligent people. Actually, I was about to say something, but I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to say any names. But yeah. So it doesn't take away from the intelligence level if someone has a mental condition. Actually, a lot of them are really smart. They just have some other things that are going on that is happening in their brain that causes them to act out in certain ways that are kind of uncontrollable. And a lot of them don't want to be bound by medication because it doesn't really heal. A lot of times it just kind of subdues or kind of takes them out of themselves. And a lot of people don't like feeling like that. And this is definitely not to give a pass to Kanye West, but we who know that he has a mental condition, probably several of them. He's just somebody I have zero sympathy for, because with all of the access and money that he has, there's just no reason why he can't be getting the help and the treatment that he really needs. So I say all of that to say, her ex-husband had came out and so-called did a job offer. And I'll be honest, when I saw that, I really felt like he was a clout chaser and he was using that moment to get his name out there for some sort of promotion. That was my personal opinion when I saw it. And now recently she came out to slam him for his so-called job offer. Okay? So since fans have shown strong support, while her ex-husband Andre Dre Allen claimed he offered her a job in hospitality, including perks like free medical and PTO, Dawn has denied this, saying, I haven't heard from this man. I don't know what he's talking about. She also expressed frustration with his public remarks, adding, he has to get his shine on my coattails. And I truly did feel that way when that came out, because I really just, it's like, there's a way to go about it if you're trying to reach someone and you feel like, well, maybe if I put something out in media, it would get this person to reach out to me. But he could have just put his information out there and say, if anyone has access to Dawn, please get her my information. I would like to discuss some things with her. He didn't have to go out and get all. So I really felt like that was a clout chase move. That's my personal opinion. And then she came out and pretty much confirmed what my thoughts were about it. But again, I want to know what you guys think about Dawn, because my personal opinion is I do believe that there is something going on mentally there that has caused her to get to this place where it's like, I'm just going to stick it out and just live in my car. And it wound up being 3 years worth of time, because it can be pretty tough, especially dealing with someone that you are not committed to, like I said before, that has some mental health issues, especially when they are not wanting or willing to address it and get the help that they need. It can just kind of be like, you know what, it's either going to be you or me. And I understand that. I do understand that. So she doesn't have any children. She doesn't have a husband. It doesn't sound like she has a man or a boyfriend or anything like that. So she's living life on her terms and choosing, like she said, she chose to live in her car. So JD, Jermaine Dupri, he wasn't wrong when he did that video saying, it sounds like to me that's what she chose to do. And that actually is what she said. She said she chose to live in a car. There was a choice. She didn't have to be there. So with that being said, I want to know what you guys think. Do you feel like her ex-husband is a clout chaser? And what do you feel about Dawn? Especially if you know what you've known or heard about her over the years that got her to the place where now she's been living out of her car for the last 3 years.
To send a quick little message to you guys to tell you I don't have any breast. I know people have said so many crazy things, but For anyone who's had what I had, which was a bilateral mastectomy, I've had all of my breast tissue removed. And so what you see beneath my skin is implants. And I'll tell you, I'll take implants upside, downside, turn in, out. I don't care if they are asymmetrical, but I take that over breast cancer any day of the week because I want to be here to raise my children. But if someone would like to insult what they see, feel free. Argue amongst yourself. Low-hanging fruit. I understand it. But just understand that, use the right term. It's just cleavage. That's what you're looking at because I don't have any breast tissue anymore. It was removed. God bless you.
For talking, whatever. I don't remember what I said to Contessa. Contessa kept throwing shots at me. Contessa kept saying stuff about my dress. She kept saying stuff about different things. So I heard them over there, but I couldn't hear them. But one thing I did hear them say, because they snickling over there and they talking under their breath and shit, okay? That's a Phaedra move. They got it from her. Talking under their breath. But I did hear Contessa call me Professor Clump or Best Fuchsia or some shit. What's Professor Crump's name? I think it was Resprucia or some shit. She kept saying some shit about me or whatever, and she was over there. They was cackling her and sweet tea. So I turned around and I said, bitch. And honestly, I ain't thinking about no breast cancer because the bitch didn't have breast cancer. She didn't. She did a prophylactic, which she might have never had it. Okay. My whole thing is, if you're gonna talk about my appearance, I can talk about yours. I wasn't thinking about no breasts. I wasn't thinking about none of that because she ain't never had it. Okay. So now she gonna start crying, probably make it a big thing. You know what I mean? But anyway. I'm gonna apologize. I'm sorry, but bitch, leave me alone. If you're gonna talk about my appearance, I can talk about yours. And at the end of the day, I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna take it back. If you didn't have it, you could have got a better surgery. Stop being cheap. That's all I'm gonna say. Let's move on. Let's move on, because Toya titties look good and Toya wrong because she could tell you where she got hers. Anyway, moving on.
Listen, Heavenly is just a miserable bitch. I mean, I don't even know another word to use for this heifer because every time I hear her voice, it's just more and more annoying, okay? And the fact that she's justifying her comments about Contessa to say, well, she didn't even have breast cancer. You dummy. The whole freaking reason that she did this was because she had the gene. Her mother passed away from breast cancer and she did it to prevent this from happening. And what she said, Contessa said, listen, I wasn't in the room, but I don't, just like they tried to say Dr. G told Quad to shut the F up when he said you have a big effing mouth, which is the truth. They lied about what he said. I believe she lied about what Contessa said. I do not believe that Contessa said about her what she's trying to justify her reasons for saying what she said about Contessa. Contessa said some things about her body. So it's like, well, it's fair game because she... Bitch, bye. And her claiming to be a medical professional, you recall second season when Jackie, her so-called good buddy now, right? Her best friend was adamant that a dentist is not a doctor, but she wanted to just let people know, I am a doctor, I am a doctor, I am a doctor. So if you're so much of a doctor or a medical professional, then you should be the last one to try to justify making comments about this woman's breasts and using it as, well, it's okay for me to say it because she didn't even have breast cancer. You big dummy. That's the whole reason why she did what she did. I can't stand this chick at this point. And for her husband, Damon, to sit up on that stage and talk about how integrity is important. Integrity is important only when other people should embody it, but not your wife, I guess, right? Because there's not a bit of integrity in that body. I was about to say something else, but yeah, she's really feeling herself since she's had the exposure and experience being on the show and having the different surgeries that she's had and fat transfers and all that stuff so that she could get a shape and a lifted booty and be able to be on the cover of magazines and all the other stuff that she's been able to do. Like it's a whole huge shift from where she came from. And as much as I love Mariah, I'm starting to be upset with Mariah that she gave this heifer the time of day and the exposure and the opportunity to be on the show. She should have never been considered. But hey, now a lot of us have suffered through her over the season. It's just the monster has become huge, and she really needs to she really needs like the Ghostbusters sprayed down the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man to extinguish him. She needs to be extinguished. I'm sick of this chick, but she's really helped to have this show go on a downward spiral. I'm really not feeling it, and I really am disgusted with the way that they treated Dr. G and Letitia. But the way she talked to Contessa and talked about her so-called botched surgery, and then a so-called professional saying you need to get you a better surgery. What? Anyway, guys, you let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for being here, liking, and subscribing. I'm Beth, just being beautifully honest. So until next time, I wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.